Galaxy Eye's Photon Dragon has a regional top 8. Make sure you guys smash the leveling crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more honest content. So we have the Blackpool regional breakdown here, and Lampy has done fantastic work at handling the entire UK European side of info, and I'm so happy that we get the chance to even talk about a lot of these events, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I wouldn't have seen Photon Galaxy be successful unless it was mentioned over here, and I had to take a step back and I was like, wait, really? Because this is the first time that we've had Photon Galaxy actually be successful at a high tournament level. I mean, the new support was incredibly good. It did speed up a lot of the deck, but it definitely left a lot to be desired, at least in terms of combo starters for the deck. So your most represented deck out of this top cut is actually purely pretty standard metagame antics out here. The deck still pretty much does what it wants to do. It just kind of plays ignorant to what the opponent is doing. So, okay, kitty cat in the hat doing its thing. We also had branded. I'm surprised that the branded players still give out here, still finding success. Okay. We also had Dragon Link. I'm not surprised that Dragon Link is still doing its thing. I will say, in the hands of a very, very strong Dragon Link player, the deck is very, very strong. We also had Runic for Hire Sprite. I haven't seen that in a little while. I still think that that deck seems like it's one of the best decks in the game, at least for plowing through the opponent's, setup. And it amazes me because people really just toss it aside and they're like, oh, this is horrible. We also had Trap Tricks, so Walmart Turbo doing its thing. We also had Unchained, and of course, the Galaxy Photon deck out here. It's pretty standard regional. I mean, you had always a lot of meta, and then you have the one crazy factor that, kind of shakes up the entire regional. So not too bad. Let's pass on over to deck list. Right off of the bat here, third place, we have our Galaxy Photon deck. And we're going to dissect this because most of this is going to be toggling up through huge materials down here and putting those pressure points on the opponent. Also, Tachyon Transmigration. You might not remember this card, but this card is the good stuff for this deck. So, of course, you've got to have 2 Galaxy Brave in here. This is another level 8. In your hand, reveal a Photon. Go ahead and special summon this guy. Its level becomes that of the Photon monster on normal or special. You can target a Galaxy in your graveyard, and this attack and defense comes that. We don't care about that. It's a level 8 you can drop. Of course, I don't need to explain to you Galaxy Soldier here, because this is the OG. It searches for literally everything Galaxy in your deck, or, you make the Infinity and Cyber Dragon. We have the one summoner on normal or special, target a Photon or Galaxy in the graveyard, special summon it in defense position, and you can target another light monster you control, its level becomes 4. This actually helps out making some of the little Starleash Photon Buster plays. Then we're actually playing Galaxy Wizard. Oh man, the favorite level 8, or you contribute it to add a Galaxy card from your deck to your hand. I remember. We're only playing the one Afterglow Dragon. I still swear that Afterglow is one of the best cards in the deck, but you still have to have the Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon on the field. And this thing is already a little bit more of a pain in the butt to actually establish. We have the one Photon Emperor. If it's sent to the graveyard, except from the field, while another Photon or Galaxy is on your side of the field, you get to bring this guy on back. Alright, after you normal summon or special summon this card, blah blah blah, you can normal summon another light monster. It's just a setup. And then of course we are playing the triple Photon Jumper. I'm so happy we actually get to play this card. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, activate this effect, skip your next battle phase, special summon this card from your hand and end that battle phase. Sure! Alright, I love battle faders. And then you can add a Photon or Galaxy spell a trap card from your deck to your hand. Literally, this card is super good. Especially if you can clean up your opponent's field. You also have the triple Photon Orbital. We all know how good this of a searcher is. We have the one Thrasher. I think a lot of people give Thrasher a lot of crap, for how old it is. But it has kind of withstood a little bit more of the test of time out here to make sure you can set up. And then, of course, triple Vanisher. Yield 2,000 attack point monster. Yup. And then, of course, the Foolish Burial to dump. You have the one Expedition for additional specials. You have the Triple Galaxy 100. On activation, dumps a Photon or Galaxy from deck to graveyard. And then you get the additional effects. You can banish a monster, special summon a number from it to your field. Then we also have the one Galaxy Trance. We're actually playing the one Hyper Galaxy. Should be one monster with 2,000 more attack except for Galaxy Eyes, Photon Dragon. Target one monster your opponent controls with 2,000 more attack. Tribute if you do special summon a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You know, this is technically a board breaker, actually, considering the fact that how much of this stuff has 2,000 or more attack? We also play the Numbers Last Hope. So this is, I think, one of the most interesting cards that this deck recently got. So this card is always treated as a Galaxy card. You pay half your life points, target two monsters in graveyard, special summon both, negate their effects, and then immediately after effect resolves, exceed summon a number exceed monster using only those two monsters. And after this card resolves, you only special summon one more time from the extra deck. So, I mean, you can still do full combo up to this point, and then you can go ahead and slap down whatever big guy that you actually need to for the rest of the combo. So interesting stuff. And then one Searcher, discard fodder. Trust me, you want discard fodder to get these terrible things out of your hand. I also have the Triple Talents of one Upstart. Extra deck is going to be a lot of standard utility stuff. Soul Flare is still going to be one of the best starters that you can have. Same thing with a little Photon Blast here. You have a little Prime Photon Dragon. Some negates as well. We also have stack them up. God, everything here is just stack them up into the bigger guys. So you have the one Prime Dragon, the one Baguski, the one Hope, one Full Armor, the Cypher X Dragon. Kind of cool to see this guy back at it again. The little Cypher Dragon and Cypher Blade. And then you get the little Galaxy Photon Dragon and Zeus. I only imagine how many materials you can stack up on the Zeus. And then we have Change of Hearts. We have going second for Board Breaker. Droplets with one Galaxy Wave. Each time you exceed summon, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. This is searchable for time. Galaxy actually has a burn card. Okay. You have the one Feather Duster, two Storm. You have the one Photon Hand. If you control a Photon or Galaxy monster, pay 1,000, target one monster your opponent controls. Take control of it. If you do not control Galaxy Eyes at activation, you can only target an Exceed monster. That's beautiful. And then, of course, triple D-Barrier and triple Tachyon Transmigration for the giant stack negate that you get with this. So, okay. A lot of explanation here for a lot of the card choices, but I like this. All right. Next up is a purely list. Now, notes for this before somebody's like, Robbie, where's the extra deck and side deck? Extra deck is incredibly standard, they said. They didn't have the chance to get it. This was all that they had remaining from their list. But they are playing the cross-out designators here so that you can, you know, tear through your opponent. I like the huge section of one-ofs here. Like, literally, you can get away with playing a larger section of one-ups here because you actually can control your opponent and the things that they're doing with these cards, all right? These are all power cards, for sure, all right? And especially if you can damn your opponent and have them not have the chance to be able to set up or do anything. I actually quite like this a lot. I haven't actually seen purely players go down to this level of play yet. Most of these will still play 2 to 3 of these. All right, we have some Trap Tricks back here as well. So Trap Tricks has been having a pretty decent season out here so far. I think a lot of people kind of underestimate how Trap Tricks has been holding up in the meta, but I don't think that's a bad thing. This build actually opted for some Kaijus in here. And if you can put Kaijus on the field and pressure your opponent with these cards, I think you can take a lot of advantage of these powerhouses. Especially if your opponent's like, they put up an Arise Heart or something, and you're like, oh, okay, well, let's go ahead and Kaiju over that. Now I can go ahead and play the game. Especially when you can go second, use your Kaiju to clean things up. This is also the first build that I've seen that's not been relying on infinite impermanence to do things. I know a lot of people look at at evenly matched, and they look at the card, they're like, this is an incredibly necessary card. I do agree to some points, but this build opted to not even need it, so that's something to really consider out here. And last but not least, we have some Unchained out here. Standard Unchained is standard. You have the books in the main deck, you have the Thrust toggle on in to the talents, pretty standard stuff. I would say probably the most interesting thing out of this list is we have Skullmeister here. A little Skullmeister getting the chance to kind of showcase some of its power out here, which means you can put more pressure on the opponent and what your opponent's supposed to do. The answer is nothing. All right. The fact that you can just detour them and hand traps are always going to be good. And then, of course, this deck does not want to deal with Purely whatsoever. The Exceed Encore, split them apart and call it a day. So, what do you think about these lists out of this event? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.